Sturgeon went bananas as journalist questioned about funding healthcare system as COVID cases rising. Nicola Sturgeon absolutely lost it after a journalist questioned whether the Scottish Government is giving enough financial support to hospitality businesses. Political editor Mike Blackley also levelled accusations from the hospitality sector at the First Minister over her implementing a lockdown by stealth amid a raft of measures brought in by Nicola Sturgeon to combat the spread of the Omicron variant. Ms. Sturgeon has increasingly tightened restrictions over the past 2 weeks as she warned of a tsunami of infections. Mr. Blackley suggested the £66 million for businesses only amounts to a couple of thousand per premises, which have been heavily impacted by a collapse in footfall over the Christmas period. He added whether the figures were really enough before expressing his surprise that more money could not be found in the budget Ms. Sturgeon is currently gunning for in the Scottish Parliament. The Scottish political editor also questioned whether self-isolation requirements for hospitality sector staff could be cut in order to ease the pressure on the industry. But the questions left Ms. Sturgeon enraged as she hit back at the reporter, saying, "Yeah, that would really help because that would spread infection even further and that would be not doing anything for businesses." But she did not stop in her verbal attack, adding, "I don't know if you have listened to a word I have said, Michael." Ms. Sturgeon accepted that she did not think the budget for hospitality is enough, but she insisted there was little she could do to solve the shortfall as borrowing powers are the remit of the Treasury and not her. The First Minister stressed every penny we now take stems from such budget schemes from Westminster before laughing off the idea that she could extract money the health service or education budgets. She added how the Scottish Government have sourced an additional £100 million for self-isolation payments. But she added that it was unconscionable that the Treasury do not provide Scotland with additional sums to tackle the economic issues sparked by Omicron. She said, "They are borrowing it. If I had the borrowing powers the Treasury had, I would be able to do that. I don't have those borrowing powers, I can only look to the Treasury to use them." The Omicron variant is now the dominant COVID variant in Scotland. The spread has sparked Ms. Sturgeon to order Scots to stay at home as much they can in the lead up to Christmas. While she said no more than 3 households should be meeting up at one time, hospitality venues have been told to implement a raft of social distancing measures including queuing systems, mask wearing and screens to stop the spread of COVID. In another news, Omicron has now officially replaced Delta as the dominant strain in Scotland, the First Minister confirmed today. As of 5 p.m. on Thursday, there were 696 confirmed cases of Omicron. However, this very significantly underestimates the actual number of Omicron cases in Scotland. 4,336 new cases of COVID were reported in Scotland on Friday. The hospital admissions are beginning to rise in Scotland. In the week up to December 13, hospitalizations were up slightly in comparison to previous weeks. The First Minister said, total hospital admissions in Scotland in the week up to 13 December were slightly higher than in the week previous, so we are already starting to see an increase as a result of the relatively moderate rise in cases seen in previous weeks. The First Minister said she understands that the measures they are asking people to abide by, such as limiting socializing, is hitting sectors such as hospitality very hard. She announced today that £66 million of the £100 million previously announced by the Scottish Government would go to the hospitality industry, while the remaining £44 million would be shared between the arts, culture and tourism sectors. She added, "We are working with councils, enterprise agencies and others to ensure businesses get this money as soon as possible. Those who have previously received support will be contacted directly." Nicola Sturgeon is speaking to Boris Johnson today regarding more money for the devolved governments. The First Minister said, "In my view, business now needs the type and scale of financial support that was available earlier in the pandemic. And the reality is that can only come from the UK government, because it has borrowing powers that the Scottish, Welsh and Northern Irish governments simply do not have. I will press this point with the Prime Minister when I speak to him later today."